Hello again. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about arbitrary power. We're all familiar with arbitrary power, but we really don't think about it all that much. And I think it's time we think about it because these times are trying. And if we slip back into arbitrary power, it's going to be awful damn hard to get the hell out of it. So, arbitrary power is simply the government can do anything to you they want. That's arbitrary power. No rules, no laws, no regulations can prevent the government from doing what they think they want to do with you, to you, against you, oftentimes, sometimes for you. The word was used extensively by Benjamin Franklin back at the Constitutional Convention and throughout his writings. Now, he could have said the power of dictators or the power of czars or a million other names. I mean, they had emperor, we've had dear leader, we've had el presidente, we've had the Khan. That's like in Genghis Khan. But they all mean the same thing. They're all arbitrary power. And what arbitrary power means is the government is primary and the people being ruled are secondary. Now, we made a break. We made a break in history with our revolution and our Constitutional Convention. With our Constitutional Convention, we studied what had happened in the past, so we didn't make the same mistakes. In fact, Benjamin Franklin famously wrote, let me pull it up here for you, "We have gone back to ancient history for models of government and examined the different forms of those republics, which having been formed with the seeds of their own dissolution, now no longer exist." Well, we have to ask ourselves, what were the seeds of their own dissolution? And the answer is quite simple. There was no mechanism to keep government limited. And now that's a funny thing to say, and it seems so obvious and so strange, but that's really what it all boiled down to. We set up a republic, maybe the Roman Republic, for an example, and over time it became arbitrary. And what does the government do? The government writes laws, rules, regulations. Not only that, it's their job to enforce them. So it's a perfect recipe for leading to arbitrary power. And the other problem that we had at the time, and we really didn't know about it because it was too new. I mean, we had the marketplace, we had a market, we had a trading in goods and services and all that, but the marketplace wasn't very strong. And there are two systems of mankind, the marketplace and government. And if they aren't equal strength, the one will take over from the other. Well, it's always just in one direction. The government takes over the marketplace. And as the government writes rules, as they write regulations, as they enforce the rules, they slowly, inexorably, they always take over functions of the marketplace. And when you take over functions of the marketplace, eventually you get tyrannical, despotic, arbitrary government. So Franklin threw the term arbitrary as a catch-all. It didn't matter if you were a dictator, a king, a czar, an emperor, a khan. It was all arbitrary power. So we get one chance at life. And that chance is singular. I mean, I'm repeating myself. I just realized that. But one chance is one chance. And where do you want to live it? You want to live it under an arbitrary dictatorial power that tells you what to do, what you can't do, tells you everything about your life, what you can think, what you can't think, what you can say, what you can't say? Or do you want to live it in freedom. Now, I started out by saying arbitrary power is government is primary, the people are secondary. Freedom is the people are primary, and the government is secondary. And that's the real key to our Constitution. That's what we tried. And Franklin warned, if we didn't keep a limited government, we would lose it. But let's look at what Franklin said about our Constitution when it was being written. If it does not do good, it must do harm, as it will show that we have not wisdom enough among us to govern ourselves, and will strengthen the opinion of some political writers that popular governments, that means government of the people and by the people, cannot long support themselves. That was the fear. We would write a constitution, we would put the people first, but then it would disappear like everyone had in the past. So I want you to think about arbitrary power when you think about government, and realize that a lot of things the government says sound good at first blush, but they lead to arbitrary power over the long term. Think about the Constitution. What is the Constitution in its simplest form? It's a tool to keep government limited. And our Bill of Rights, added to the Constitution, is the teeth, if you will, of that tool. And I want you to all realize that the history of mankind is one of arbitrary power. The history of freedom is relatively short. We've been on Earth for many, many, many years. Civilization's been around maybe 5, maybe 10,000 years. The Constitution was written 250 years ago. Hardly a blink of an eye. So, arbitrary power, know it, understand it, remember it, and when you talk about government and all the wonderful things government is going to do, just remember, it's the natural tendency of government to grow and become arbitrary. All for now. Talk to you then.